Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist, here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. This week, I am so excited to talk to you about this topic, not only because it was a divine download, but because it just made sense to talk about it. And I'm excited to share it with you because I think you'll be able to really relate to this. So today, we're diving into the profound concept, how to deal with your Goliath. And you may be saying, what in the world, Janis, what in the world is a Goliath? Well, I'm going to talk to you about that. It's the name, it originates from the biblical story of David and Goliath, a tale where a young shepherd boy defeats a towering, heavily armored warrior with nothing but a slingshot and a single stone. So a Goliath represents any overwhelming challenge that seems insurmountable, a force that makes us feel small, powerless, and afraid. We can all relate to that, right? But as Buddha once said, it's better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. The true battle, it's not against the giant before you, but the one within you, right? And we're always fighting against the inner Goliath, I think. So today, we're going to explore how to recognize your Goliath, the signs and symptoms of a Goliath moment. I'm going to give you the 7 stages. This was so cool what came through. How to navigate through your own Goliath with wisdom and inner strength. And then I'm going to give you 7 powerful affirmations to anchor you into courage when facing any Goliath in your life. And you choose which of these affirmations fits. Now, a Goliath moment is any situation that makes you feel powerless, inadequate, and overwhelmed. And it may manifest as a toxic relationship that drains your spirit, a financial crisis that seems impossible to escape, a deep-rooted fear of failure or rejection, a major life transition, a divorce, career shift, aging, illness, the internal battle of self-doubt, limiting beliefs, or emotional wounds, the weight of past trauma that resurfaces when you least expect it, the fear of fully expressing your truth and stepping into your highest self. I connect with that as well. Look, we've all faced and we will face our own Goliaths. The question is, and I want you to think about this, how do you stand before them? Do you stand unwaveringly before them or not? Look back at your life and recall times when you honestly felt like you couldn't make it, where you felt like life just beat you up, where you felt like giving up because the challenge, it was just too big to bear, you felt like. This is why I'm talking about this today to you. There are some of you out there who are facing moments like this right now, moments that feel insurmountable and like they're tsunamis just close enough to pull you under. And if that's you, please listen to the entire episode today, because once you understand what a Goliath moment actually is and the steps that each of us goes through when we decide to face these intense and life-changing moments, you're likely going to be able to handle them better in the future. You're going to be saying to yourself, oh my God, now I have a game plan. Now I can do something about this. You'll be able to recognize them more clearly than ever. So when a person is dealing with a Goliath moment, they typically move through 7 distinct stages that I want to share with you of challenge and transformation. So when you understand these stages, they can help you navigate a process, any issue, any challenge, anything that you feel like is just too great to bear, with greater awareness and with more of a sense of internal power. That's what I want you to walk away with today. I'm getting chills all over the place. So one or lots of y'all need to hear this today. Okay, first stage. It's called the awakening, and it's when we recognize the Goliath moment. We're not just stuck in the feeling of it, okay? This is the moment of realization when you see the giant standing in your path. And it may come as a shock, it's a slow awareness, or a moment of deep discomfort. The feelings you might have could be confusion, anxiety, denial, and overwhelm. This is when it first hits you, like your oh shit moment, right? An example, right? You realize a toxic relationship is draining your soul, and you recognize that the fear that is holding you back from, maybe your true calling. Or there's a fear that says, oh, don't leave this relationship as fucked up as it is. You don't want to go. You got nothing to leave with. You can't leave. You're stuck. You're trapped. Maybe you're in a job and you're like, I can't work here anymore. This is killing me. But you're afraid to because you're like, oh, I need stable income. But I want to do this, but I can't do this, right? The second stage is the resistance stage, and it has to do with the avoidance and fear. Now, the ego resists change. It creates doubt, and it creates procrastination and excuses and resistance. This is where fear takes hold, telling you that you're not strong enough, that it's too hard, that it's safer to stay the same, right? And fear can tell you that if you leave this person, you'll never find anyone else, that you'll be alone for the rest of your life, or that you can't make it on your own financially or in any other way. Remember, the ego is nasty about how it keeps us held back from growing. Nasty, and I mean it. It is relentless. It is sinister. It is really sinister, and it will not give up until you shut it down. That's why the battle is internal. Now, you may feel some common signs of resistance at this stage. Overthinking, escapism. You may numb yourself through the distractions, drugs, sex, social media, computer games, or even self-sabotage. For example, you might avoid having a difficult conversation because you're terrified of what the outcome might be. So you stay in a comfort zone and you hesitate taking action. These are the things that examples of this second stage. Now, third stage, the confrontation. This is where you stand face to face with your Goliath. You reach a tipping point where you can no longer avoid the challenge. It's in your face. Think about things in your life. Can you see these stages now? There's a choice you got to make. You either face your Goliath or you continue suffering, because suffering is a choice. Nobody causes suffering unless you are, God forbid, taken prisoner and they're beating on you, or they're doing whatever to cause you some physical harm. Outside of that, you cause your own suffering. Some of these feelings that you might have this adrenaline rush. You might have an intense fear. You may feel incredibly nervous, but also a sense of determination because you know you've reached your edge and that you must make your move in a different way or you're going to be crushed by this. You may finally make a decision to leave a toxic situation or relationship. Maybe you decide to start your business or change an unhealthy belief system. But that doesn't mean you've conquered the beast. It's like in your mind, you're just thinking, well, okay, I'll do this. It just means you've made a decision, but you haven't taken action. Let's keep going. Stage 4, the breaking point, struggle and doubt. This is where all of that comes up. This is the most intense stage where the battle feels the hardest because you are caught between the past version of you that is pulling you backwards and the future version of you that is pulling you forwards. You might question yourself. You feel exhausted or experience setbacks. This is when the universe is testing you about how serious you are to change your life and finally to listen to yourself, putting yourself first. The temptation to give up is the strongest here. This is the precipice, the tipping point, the edge. Maybe an example is after leaving a bad job, you struggle financially and you wonder if you made the wrong choice. Or you've left a relationship that was all sorts of toxic, and the moment you're alone, you only start to think about the good times and you feel lonely and you long for the temporary pain of separation to end. And so you're considering going back. You're almost reaching for the phone to call that person and say, I miss you, I love you. That's your mind. That's the choice point. Do I go back to sickness and toxicity, or do I move through the initial difficulty of pain, the acute pain phase, and then overcome that? This is truly the toughest spot to be in. Now, stage 5, the turning point. This is where the shift in perception comes and the shift in power comes. It's a moment of clarity, and you realize that the Goliath, it's not as powerful as you believed, because your desire to do what's right for you in the long run outweighs the temporary pain you might be experiencing in the short run by waiting it out. You realize that it's more painful to stay where you are and where you've been than it is to move differently. You begin to trust yourself. You access your inner strength and you shift from fear to faith, and you're like, you know what? I can do this. No matter what, I don't want that. I can do this. I'll figure it out. It may be that instead of seeing at the choice of leaving or stopping something as a failure and as a setback, you're able to see it as an opportunity for growth, and you finally get it. You're standing up in front of your Goliath and you're saying, I win, not you. Number 6, the stage 6, the victory. This is breakthrough and growth. You overcome the challenge, not necessarily by defeating it externally, but by transforming internally from within. The Goliath moment, it changes you. It makes you wiser, stronger, and more aligned with your truth. And you're like, oh, hell yeah, this feels so good. Oh my God, if I can overcome that, I can overcome anything. You are more aligned in your truth. You may feel relief, empowerment, gratitude, expansion. You may feel like you're on top of the world. Maybe you find peace in your decision, and then all of a sudden, all these opportunities open up for you. Abundance comes in all the ways. You're just in flow. Opportunities, people, all the things that you've wanted just show up. And you feel a deep sense of freedom that you've never felt before. The last stage is called the integration stage. It's where you form a new identity and where the wisdom kicks in. You now embody the lessons from this experience, and you emerge as a new version of yourself, capable of handling future Goliaths with greater ease because you've slayed this dragon already. And no matter what other dragon shows up, you have the tools and the strategy and the knowledge and the wisdom that you didn't have before. And you can't deny all of that anymore. You may even help others face their own Goliaths. Maybe you become a source of inspiration for others, teaching others how to stand in their power. I know that's been a huge draw for me because for most of my life, I felt powerless. I didn't know who I was. And then once all of that clicked in, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm helping as many women as I can do this. Because it's a brilliant feeling. It feels so amazing. Now, each stage is necessary part of the journey. The key is not to get stuck in resistance or fear, but instead trust the process and keep moving forward. Facing your Goliath, it's not about brute force. That's the thing. It's about shifting your awareness. It's becoming aware, shifting your perception. It's leaving helplessness and saying, oh no, I don't want to feel helpless anymore. I don't want to give my power away to this. I want to feel powerful. So you own your power. And then you're stepping into the highest version of yourself because you're declaring who you are, what you want, what you're going to do. So go back and listen to these steps. Look at where the stages where you are in your life right now if you're facing something that feels really difficult. It doesn't matter what it is, but it just feels overwhelming. And figure out what stage you're in and think about how you can move through the stages so that you get to the 7th or even just the 6th where you would just have victory and you've overcome it. That's where growth happens. So I've talked about before, some examples of what it feels like to be in a Goliath moment. But I want to just give you some kind of other different, those were other scenarios. This is more of like, how do I know I'm going through one of these things? Well, your mind is consumed with fear and doubt. Maybe you ruminate over the worst case scenarios, feeling paralyzed by indecision. That's a Goliath moment. So go through the stages and figure out how you can get to the victory stage. Your body reacts with stress. Maybe your heart's racing, your stomach's tightening, your breath becomes shallow. If your body's reacting like that, then you're not at peace. What stage are you in this Goliath process? Maybe you're experiencing avoidance or resistance. You're procrastinating on something. Maybe you're in denial. You're numbing yourself to escape reality. What aren't you choosing to be aware of that you need to in order to slay this Goliath? Maybe you feel spiritually disconnected, alone and lonely, and like you question your purpose, your faith, and your ability to move forward. What stage in the process are you in? Maybe your ego's growing louder and your inner critic is like kicking your ass. And you hear voices that say, oh my God, why are you even trying to deal with this? You're not enough. You're not good enough. You're going to screw this up like you've screwed everything else up. You just might as well hang up your boxing gloves and give in and let it take over. Okay? You don't want those things. What stage are you in the Goliath steps, right? None of these are signs of weakness. They're signals that transform, that transformation is knocking at your door. If you're feeling any of those things, it's like, y'all, get a handle on it. Goliaths are going to happen. We all have them. That's part of the human experience. How you handle it determines how quickly you're able to align with your highest truth, with the life you want. We're given hard things for reasons so that we can grow. And that may sound very, how do I say this? It may sound like empty because you hear it all the time. We're given experiences to grow, but we really are. The bigger your Goliath, the greater growth you're going to have. There's purpose in all of that. You're never given anything that isn't going to grow you. Whether you choose to grow or not, that's up to you. So let's talk about some affirmations that you can use and put in place when you're facing your Goliath. Is going to help you reframe things and hopefully will help you step back into empowering yourself. The first one is, I am stronger than this challenge. I know Spirit, God, the universe, the divine supports me always. I choose to know and believe that everything is always working out for me. I release the need to control, and I trust that all is unfolding for my highest good. I am divinely guided, and the answers I seek are already within me. I face my fears with courage, for they hold no power over me. I am capable, I am worthy, and I am unstoppable. Love that one. My Goliath is merely a doorway to my next level of greatness. That one I love. When that came through, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I can handle any challenge that appears in my life. That is a fantastic one. I can handle anything. I may not know how at the time, but I know I can. Whatever your Goliath may be, know this. You were never meant to be defeated. You're not small. You're not weak. Within you is the strength of 1,000 lifetimes, the wisdom of the ages, and the divine power to rise above any obstacle. Goliaths are not sent to destroy you. They are sent to reveal to you who you truly are. I want to thank you for spending this sacred time with me today. And if this episode spoke to your heart, listen to it over and over and over again when you have hard times. Share it with somebody who may need it today too. And remember, you are never alone in this journey. I'm here, Spirit's with you, your guides are with you. You're never alone. And until next time, I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.